So this is the first episode of the Lakewood Music Collective podcast, and I am Dan Wolf. I'm going to be the podcast host and the least talented of all. However, I'm sitting with, to my left is my brother, Chris.
Hey, folks. I'm Chris Parsons. I'm the owner of the Lakewood Music Collective. I guess sponsor of this thing that we're doing. So, yeah, stay tuned.
And to my right, we have a special guest.
Sergey Matsov, and I play in It's the Band.
I like it.
So today we're going to be talking about making music, a little bit of the structure behind it, and we're all going to be doing this from a wonderful meme that is the How to Make an AC/DC Song in 30 Seconds. A link to that will be in the description below. We're going to watch it, listen to it, talk about it, and then we're going to make our own AC/DC song. So, if you guys are ready, we're going to play this video. Feel free to pause this, look at the wonderful duo who's made this hilarious video, and then come back, please.
Here's how to make an AC/DC track in 30 seconds.
First, you need drums.
Then you need bass.
Then you need guitar. All you need to know are 3 chords.
So I think the most important place to start here is who can do the best Marge Simpson?
I'm going to nominate you.
I'm going to nominate Sergey.
Oh man, I mean, we're gonna have to figure out, but we have to have a Marge Simpson off.
I think so.
That would be the best.
All right, I nominate
best
Chris
thing
to go
to
first.
do. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
It is not going to work. Oh, wow.
I need eggs for Bart. That's the line.
All right. I need eggs for Bart! No, it's bad. It's really bad.
You didn't get it high enough. I need eggs for Bart!
All right, that's pretty good.
All right, what do you got, Sergey?
I need eggs for Bart!
Well, I think we're all losers here.
Yeah, no, this is going to be bad.
All right. Who wins, Chris?
You.
All right.
I think the Marge Simpson thing was not 100% like accurate. I think, as long as I'll take that. I'll take this part as far as who's got the best Marge Simpson. I'll just pretend that I do.
You know what we need?
It wasn't because it wasn't a good Marge Simpson that he was doing on the thing. He was just doing a whoever the lead singer of
John
that
Bon
band is.
John Bon Jovi. Yes, that is the lead singer of AC.
Not at all.
John
no,
Bon
what's the
Jovi.
dude's name? Isn't it John?
Yeah,
John.
the song he wrote, Stairway to Heaven, AC/DC,
No.
Stairway to
Oh
Heaven,
my God, Danny.
written and sung by
No.
John Bon Jovi. Listen.
No,
I've got
I'm looking
this.
it up right now because I'm pretty sure. Maybe I could.
Well, the lead singer's name is John AC/DC. Actually, I believe he's AC, and his brother Angus Young is DC.
Brian Johnson. So I was off, but not like totally. There was a John in there.
Anna Bryan.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Look.
All right, so you had made the point earlier, Sergey. Where do we want to start from? Do we want to start from the lyrics, or do we want to start from the chord structure, which was what, A, D, and G?
Well, that's the thing is like to make sure that we separate ourselves from sounding too much like all of the other AC/DC songs, even though we do want to exactly do that. If we start with the lyrics first, it'll give us a better idea of how to wrap the chords around that. And I was thinking fancy hats and leather jackets, and then I need you guys to finish that. That's the first 2 lines: fancy hats and leather jackets. Da 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 da.
Okay.
Right.
Fancy hats and leather jackets.
Fancy hats, leather jackets!
Dog on the road!
Exactly, but not
Let's see. Fashion mode? I'm stuck on road is the rhyming thing.
Right.
I like fashion
Okay. Fancy hats.
Wait, what was it?
Fancy hats and
and leather jackets.
And leather jacket.
And leather
It's
jackets.
just that.
fancy hats and leather jackets. Dog on the
Now
road.
I'm stuck on rackets. Like something rackets.
Fashion brackets.
Fashion rackets.
Fashion rackets, yeah.
I like that. So we just need a word in front of fashion rackets.
Look out. Ooh.
I like
Not
it.
bad. Yeah. Yeah.
Or like
Maybe
James
ooh.
Hetfield, ooh.
Wait, I do like the ooh idea.
Fancy hats, leather jackets, ooh. Fashion rackets.
Fashion rackets. Look at that.
All right, but okay,
So
play it back
let's-
for us,
okay,
Marge.
Let's see how we can do this. Fancy hats and leather jackets. Ooh, fashion rackets.
Stunt. Okay.
Or even better, wait. Fancy hats, leather jackets. Ooh, fashion rackets.
I'm on that one. I'm on that one. I'm really on that one. So we'll I say we play into it, like we do a break, and then we like jam at the end of it.
Fancy hats, leather jackets. We're all living within fashion brackets. That's the line.
That's too deep for AC/DC.
No. That's the whole. It's not. It makes the chords fit around better, and the words. So
I have written 0 songs, so I believe you. I will take you at face value on this one.
fancy hats, leather jackets. We're all living within fashion brackets.
You guys got to put the chords to it. I just got to do this.
Okay, so then, what do you got on the chords for me?
So, no, I was trying to think of that. So the trick with the AC/DC, it's always sort of some sort of like rhythmic pulse that gives it an identity. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's the one thing these guys missed was the rhythmic elements that they typically incorporate, you know? So there's always something. They got the bass line down. It's usually there's like 8th note. Mm-hmm. Right, whatever that is. But then there's usually some sort of, think of like Back in Black. There's like the staccato hits and the, all that stuff. So I think there needs to be some of that somehow, somewhere.
I'm thinking Highway to Hell. That's
right.
That's where I'm
That's
at.
Yeah,
so it's like.
Yeah, sure.
But somewhere within that, I'm gonna let you take that one.
Great.
Yeah.
There you go. We threw a bunch of stuff at a wall. Here's your wall.
The fancy hats, leather jackets. We're all living within fashion brackets.
Yeah. I mean, so the energy you're bringing would be that moment in the song when they're just strumming through 8 notes, like it's just crazy, whatnot. Right before a guitar solo. Absolutely. So if you want to do that, let's do that.
Yeah. So what do we got here? I think I went with the AGD structure there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fancy hats, leather jackets. We're all living within fashion brackets. Fancy hat, leather jacket. We're all living within fashion brackets.
Yeah, right. So you got, what are you doing for the chorus? You got A, G, is it go back to D or are you going down to A?
D.
I'm sorry. D.
D, yeah.
D,
A,
G.
G. And I'm riding that D for the whole.
Yeah.
I'm just riding it, man.
That's what I thought.
Killing it, killing that D. Yeah, just twice. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm just riding that D all the way through, not stopping.
Like that. Yeah.
But I don't play it through once.
Right. How's it feel to play guitar to someone playing bass? That's probably
horrible.
That's probably very backwards to you.
It is.
Oh, do you want me to do,
alien.
do you want me to
I'll
do
play
the guitar of it?
You play the guitar, I'll play the bass.
So it's
Yeah. Trying to go back and forth between like a like D and G. Like top
okay.
portion of G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do this.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
The opposite of that.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
it. Yeah, nailed it. Nailed
And then
it
can
too.
you do quarter notes on a half open hi-hat?
Don't know.
No.
Do whatever you want on a hi-hat. That's what you got to tell them.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's when you see the throwing the third element in, you gotta let the you gotta let the body figure it out. Because,
Okay. Yeah.
Because
I
like
hear ya.
especially
That's
when
fair.
the
That's
know what I
fair.
mean.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen, my body has 2 figured out modes: stop and eat. So
Okay, so like that's the thing. When you get to the hi-hat, eat. Oh yeah.
Fancy hats, leather jacket. We're all living in a fashion bracket. Fancy hats, leather jacket. We're all living in a fashion bracket.
Yeah.
and that's our AC/DC song.
Yeah. Pretty much.
There it is.
Okay. Cool.
That's actually why I brought the drums up, is just so I can always keep tuning.
Great.
So, AC/DC song.
No, we got we got to do it one more time. This is the real one.
It's the real one.
Yeah, that was us getting the thing down.
The thing. Okay.
Ready?
Okay, yeah.
That's fair. Okay.
Let me-
All right, so they said start with the drums.
Don't start with the drums. Don't. All right.
Start with the bass.
Start with the bass. Yeah.
Fancy hats, leather jackets. We're all living in fashion brackets. Leather hats, leather jackets. We're all living in a fashion bracket. Fancy hats, leather jackets. We're all living in a fashion bracket. Thank you, Cleveland.
I think.
Good night, Detroit, Ohio.
Good night, Detroit, Ohio. I feel like that's too accurate. All right. Easy enough. We just strung together a relatively competent AC/DC styled song in about 20 minutes. So why does it work that way? Why is it so easy to put together an imitation of one of the greatest rock bands that had ever lived?
Sorry. All right. So yeah, one of the things that obviously you need to take into consideration is they've really established their style. They've established like how they sound, what they're doing, through whatever means, whether it be their own personal like take on music or through a producer of some sort, keeping their sound sort of in the same world all the time, and having that sort of oversight. That's what it is. Even newer bands, they say oh, it sounds like AC/DC or something. It's because of that, just like culturally accepted identity that they have. Yeah. In addition, a lot of what they do is, it's not simple, but it's
In C.
yeah, in D. No, but a lot of what they do is takes a lot of like traditional blues aspects. So 1, 4, 5s. D is 1, G is 4, A is 5. And where was I going with that? It's just a very common sound, right? So it's some of that that's playing into it.
So this hits what? This is like what in the pentatonic scale?
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of what they do. They use a lot of other things too, but pentatonic is a big one. All right, so you have that sound. Blues scale, which is kind of like a pentatonic with an additional note. Those are both minor pentatonic and minor blues scale, but they're known to use other ideas too. I forget what song they do, but it's in like E minor. So they do get into that. Some of their licks and stuff are based out of minor. And then, the 1-4-5s. I mean, that's just really common. And it sticks to the harmony, like our harmony sort of rules. You know, in a major key, 1 is major, 4 is major, and 5 is major. So it's all related to D. There's no, like, excursions to other
I was just about to say
sound areas.
A lot like those 3 chords that we were using, they were all major chords, and so major chords are definitely like your pump up chords, and that was kind of like what you said. It's not the fact that it's a simple thing or an easy thing that they're playing. It's just the idea that, you know, if I play a minor chord, you immediately sound sad, and sad music doesn't sell as well because you're sad. Yeah. So, you know, children don't want to be sad. They want to jump around and be happy, and most people that go out do a that's
do
the
a rock
idea.
show.
So,
Yeah.
and whatever it may be, like what's going to be pleasing to the ear are those combinations of chords. It is something that's like fine tuned in our DNA at this point. And you know, when you get into the more dissonant sounds, the minors, and the just weird scales that people aren't familiar with, that's where, if you're someone that understands music, or someone just like listening for that feeling that specifically, then yes. But if you're just out and about, you don't necessarily just want to hear like a sad minor song with a bunch of dissonant sounds, somebody just yelling into your ear. I mean, I love it, but not everyone
Time
does.
and place for that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what's a major versus a minor chord?
So I was just thinking of that. So the progression we used, right, is A major to G major, and then wrapped up on D major, right? Those are the 3 chords, and that's what they sound like, right? So nice happy A, nice happy G, nice happy D.
Let me play the minors.
Yeah, I was just gonna do that.
That's what I like doing.
Just play them next to each other.
I'm the minor guy. That's like where I live. So you played the A major. I'm like, go ahead, play A major.
There's A major.
Hey, sounds so good. Hey, oh man, I'm just hanging out. Major.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh no.
Can't do it anymore.
What the hell happened? Nothing's good. My car just broke down. And then you play like the D major.
You want D major?
Yeah.
All right, so there's D major.
Oh, but it's okay. Oh, AAA's coming on the way. I see them in my rearview mirror. The AAA just broke down too. Are you serious? Why is this happening to you? And then give me like a G major.
So, yeah.
There comes the nice officer. He's gonna get us out of this. Everything is fine. We're gonna be fine. He's gonna save us. And then you go with the minor, He's got something more important to do. He's waving us away and blasting right on through. Officer, I'm broken down. AAA is broken down too. The sun is shining. Let's have a beer with me and you. So and that's how you end on a major. So that's like, just jump in between moods.
So like you'd said, is having the major and the minors really a way that can, pump up the song. Major, minor, kind of bring it down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that's where
AC/DC's
right. They're pump up the crowd. They're the That's why like any pop song you're gonna hear, it's gonna have a lot of major chords. I mean, unless it's like that sad breakup song, then it's gonna have a lot of minor chords.
So Taylor Swift, all minor chords.
It's half and half.
Sure, yeah. On the flip side of all that, it's also about context. Mm-hmm. So a minor chord could sound happy as well, depending on what the context is. Specifically, a minor 7 chord, it has a major triad on the top of that chord. So if you played more of a right? You get a softer minor sound. It's more of like a somberness versus like a sadness.
Yeah, it's thoughtful. It's very thoughtful.
Right. So if you're going through the changes and you kind of have that sound, it's just somber. It's not necessarily sad. It's just,
Yeah, and like you said, context where you put
right.
it. Like
Yeah,
if you put it in the beginning of a song, actually that chord that you use is very popular in like Eastern European.
Sure.
And like in the beginning of a song, it sets up a tone of like you said, thoughtfulness, but also like relating to almost like something happened in the past, and I am sad but happy because
I remember that time my car broke down.
Right. And I survived.
And AAA also broke down. But it was a nice day.
Exactly.
It was cool outside.
Something like that. Our stranger and I shared a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, no.
So this brings around to like the 3 chords that we are like, all right, take these chords, structure them, and make a hook. What makes a good hook in a song? Yeah, all right.
So
that's
can I
the
start with
$1 million
this?
question.
Can I start with this?
Go for it.
So like being in a there's probably like a more traditional answer that you would give, and that's why like I want to stick. To me, what makes a good hook is to like what I like to write, and like playing rock music, punk music, or whatever is I'm always looking for a way to find that crescendo and that rise. And then after that, I build that crescendo, I need it to release. And a good hook is that good release. It's when you've built up the energy and the sound so much, and then you just kind of like let it ride. And then you kind of just see like oscillating waves that are on the same pattern going up and down. If we're going to like think
you
about
lost
it
me
technically.
right at the oscillating waves.
Well, no, it's just like, so like you might be playing like jagged, so you're going like, right, and then like sometimes you're like getting louder, stuff like that.
Okay.
But then eventually, like when you get to your hook, it's all in the same range. Your sound, but you've built the sound up to something like what I like. Especially what I like to do is use like half steps going up, because half steps I feel like create tension. So it's just stuff like that, but then. Like doing like a chromatic scale where you just go, and that like so that release. So to me, what makes a good hook is like you've built up the song with either imagery or with lyrics or some kind of like with music. You built your tones, major, minor, and anything else that you want to throw in there. And then by the time you get to your hook and your chorus, it all comes together in a very simple structure, kind of like what we're talking about with AC/DC. Everyone can kind of get it and understand what's happening musically, but also it's at a level where you're not thinking about it. The whole song came together. It's right here in front of you, and it's now like for the next 10 seconds, you know exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
That's the idea. Like you're not thinking how it's going to change into the next thing. Like we're here now. We're gonna stay here. This is where we're going to hang out. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. No, for sure. There's a lot there. Right. So, definitely that ride up. There's a journey. You get to the pinnacle. You're there. And I think where pop tunes have really nailed something down is where they can have 2 or 3 hooks in a song, and it's like, well, we think of songs in general, and we're thinking like, okay, there's a chorus, there's a verse, and maybe a bridge, and it can get more complicated than that. But those are like the big sections of a song. Well, when you can make a verse a hook and the chorus a hook and then the bridge is something different but also a hook, like it's gonna be a hit. And that's the $1 million. What you're asking is $1 million question. What makes a good hook? My answer, there is no exact answer in my opinion, but a good shot in the dark, let's say, would be making sure that it's something that the average listener, your audience members, can relate to. One thing that everybody can relate to is rhythmic elements, right? If they can sit there and go, that's such an easy thing. Think of like We Will Rock You, right?
Right.
Bump, bump, clap, whatever. That's such a good hook because everybody can participate. Everybody understands what's happening musically and can relate. That's I think what really makes a good hook. However complicated that hook needs to be to execute that is fine. Like some of these pop tunes, they're really simple, but they're complex in a musical sense. So it's easily digested at the surface, but when you get deeper, you realize that there's more to the game than what meets the eye. And that's cool. That's really great stuff.
The end.
The end, kind of.
Sergey, you and I were talking earlier about how clapping isn't in music as much as it used to be, but whistling is somehow staying around.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where when you clap, like the way you and I were talking, when you clap and you put that into a song, everyone can do that. Everyone can clap along with it, and now everybody's like, it's crowd participation. And even if you're not clapping, you're clapping in like your brain. You're definitely clapping inside of your head because you know what, like as a musician, when I hear the chord or the scale that is being played, I am now playing along with it in my brain because I get it. Yeah. As most people are not musicians, when you put a clap or something, you basically break down that wall, and now you're playing along with them. And, it's interesting that you bring that up because that's probably another good thing that really plays into a good hook. Like, you said the crowd easily digests it, but then, like, can I feel like this is something I can make? You said it sounds like it's very easy. And everyone's like, oh, this, like, most of us, and I say us because I was one of those kids, like, that got into punk early. We were like, oh, like this music is garbage and crap, but I didn't know how to make it. And now that like I'm in it making music, I'm like, wow, like it is really difficult to create songs with 4 choruses in them, but making sure that like one of the choruses sounds like a pre-chorus and one of them sounds like a verse, and then one of them sounds like just some kind of bridge that you threw in the middle of it.
Right. Yeah. How do you differentiate? Yeah. No, and that's a huge point too. I talk a lot about with my students and stuff is sort of the wave of the song. And thereby, each section has its own little wave, right? So it's telling a story, but bringing the energy and the dynamics and the different things that we're talking about into play at certain moments throughout the song to give it that wave and that storyline, which is really important. It's what makes it interesting.
Oh yeah, the whole time we're talking about this, I'm not trying to plug any band, but like to me, Baby Metal really hit it as far as first of all the dynamic between major and minor and then at the end of the day, like songs that are, it's just chorus after chorus after chorus after chorus after chorus, and you don't know when to stop. And even when they stop, they're just like, oh, sorry, we just genre bended, and now we're just in a different genre, but this is a chorus of another genre now.
Chris, are you aware of who Baby Metal is? No. Okay, so Baby Metal is a Japanese death metal band.
Cool.
But they're like 12.
They were.
Sweet.
They started when they were 12, and now they're 22, nice. 23.
Sure.
And,
but they were blown up, and Rob Zombie was like, I dig that sound. Yeah. So, the Rob Zombie is like, all right, would you mind coming to America and touring with me? Now, I remember this story very specifically because how awesome it is. So he's got Baby Metal, and I think they're probably like 16 or 17 at the time. They're Japanese, I believe. They're 3 Japanese women, and I'm not sure what level of English they speak. But Rob Zombie's like, hey, guys who listen to Rob Zombie, who are mostly between the ages of 25 and 50. That zone is 25, 50, white, probably single, has probably domestic abuse cases on them. Crap, this is an educational one. It's fine. But like,
there's editing.
I'm the editor. I'll fix it. I'll fix it in post.
Editing is real.
Oh yeah. Oof. But then
you can throw this into this. There's editing. You just cut that out. Anytime you swear, there's editing.
Hey editor, can you grab that? Hey me, if you're sober later, can you? No, but my point, but the story goes is that Baby Metal came on and people were mad. Like people were like, some of them were like, cool, it's metal, it's fine. And the other people were like, why are these women up there doing their girl music? And Rob Zombie just came out and was like, look, if you don't like their music, don't come to my show.
Yeah.
And like, that was big. That was Rob Zombie
Nice.
Rob Zombie.
Just a callback, baby.
Rob Zombie. Yeah, I did that on purpose. Rob Zombie like really stood up for this band. So, you know, Baby Metal made a big impact in America.
And I don't know if you know, what is that? Rob Halford?
Oh yeah, from Judas Priest.
From
Rob
Judas-
Halford, yeah.
Yeah, from Judas Priest. They played it on stage together as well, and it was just like, just watching the crowd in America kind of they're very reserved at metal shows. I've just gone and I've seen it, and it's just not, you know, you go to Slayer and everybody gets a circle pit, but now all those guys, like you said, are around 50, so you're just not going to get as much of that. But then you go to these baby metal shows, or you watch these baby metal shows where, you know, this like 14, 16-year-old girl, you know, is throwing her hands out in front of her and then dividing, you know, the line in front of her. And then as like the song that they just released that's like super, super epic metal begins with this epic solo, she starts, you know, circling her hand above her head, and then this huge circle pit forms with that you're starting to count bodies in it because you're just looking at it and you're like, this is about 30 bodies wide. This is a circle pit that's 30 bodies wide by another 30. There's so many people just going around, but then you start like looking into the circle pit and you're like, wow, everyone's so nice there. Everyone's just running laps. It looks like they're just there in like a Peloton or an exercise thing, and everyone's just having a good time. No one's hurting each other.
One person's got to throw an elbow and get thrown out.
Well, and so what they did was basically bring dance into metal, which metal is it's definitely a form of release, and dance is like a form of expression, and they're up there showing you how to dance to metal while you're actually acting it out. And it's
called
pure,
skanking. It's the superior
magic.
form of dancing, it shows.
I absolutely agree, because then you accidentally kick someone on the shins, but they don't worry about it because they're also throwing their kicking their legs out.
Absolutely. So we have our hooks, and we obviously just made up some ridiculous lyrics. When we're making lyrics, or when you or whoever's making lyrics to music with their hooks, you had made the point of, do we want to write the lyrics and then wrap the music around them? What would have been the other side of that? Is we write the guitar licks, the bass licks, whatever it takes, and then we put lyrics to it? Because you and I, Chris, when I remember when we were like 16 and you were in that band with Rise, inevitably another Tim.
No, it's Kyle.
It was Kyle. Okay, actually, I remember Kyle was the other guitarist. He was really cool.
Yeah, he's a good dude. And then what was his name?
Wasn't it like an older guy who was your drummer?
He was like 22. We were 16. It was the whole thing. But
he was only 20. Honestly, I honestly thought he was like 30.
Well, there was a hot second where Kyle's stepdad.
Oh, that's probably who I'm thinking of.
He was like, a balding middle-aged man
up on stage with a bunch of 16-year-olds.
Yeah, no, what was that guy's name? Oh man, I feel really bad. I liked him a lot.
That was Rob Zombie.
Yeah, exactly.
But we had talked about it as, what do you write first, lyrics or?
Well, yeah. So you cannot start in either direction. Obviously, once you get started and they'll inform each other as it goes. I just bumped the mic. Good job, Chris.
Sober Dan, get that in editing.
Yeah. So you can start in any direction. You can start with the melody. In this case, lyrics is a melody, right? That you're ultimately going to write a melody using your words, right? So you can either start with the melody and harmonize it, or you can start with a pretty cool harmony and then write a melody to it, and find lyrics that go along with that melody, or find lyrics that would fit the chord changes you have, the harmony you have, and use the syllabic phrasing of the lyrics to inform your melody line.
Can you quickly define what syllabic phrasing? Syllabic phrasing is?
Syllables.
Okay. Oh, I see. Is you're breaking a word down into like notes.
Yeah.
Like
right.
the syllable of the words.
Yeah.
Hello is hello.
That's why I went with leather jackets.
Leather jackets.
Oh,
Fancy
okay.
hats.
Yeah.
Or fancy hats, leather, because it's just like they drive that. It sounds like an AC/DC line.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. Yeah. So, and there's a couple different like versions of writing melody lines with syllables in mind. syllabic, pneumatic, and melismatic. Syllabic is each syllable has a note. So it's sort of like, think about it as like you're speaking to a note then, and it's that kind of thing. Pneumatic, I think it's pneumatic. I could be completely wrong. Sorry if I am, but I'm pretty sure it's pneumatic, where it's kind of like you add a little bit of phrasing to each note. So it's like 2 or 3 notes per syllable. And then
It's not pneumatic, it's mnemonic.
Is it mnemonic?
It's one of the two. I can't.
Okay.
I'm sitting here
It's
like, are
I'm
you
gonna-
testing me?
I'm gonna go with
It's like a thing.
I'm gonna go with mnemonic because pneumatic is
know.
as I have like pneumatic tools.
Right. But
So let's go.
sure.
Rob
Again,
Zombie.
I'm not a vocalist. I remember.
Rob Zombie, give us a call.
Yeah, Rob
Let us know if
Zombie.
it's pneumatic or mnemonic.
Melismatic is a big melody to a single syllable.
Okay.
It's lots of notes to a single. Think of like arias and operas and things like that, where they hold on to a single note and they sing this whole scale. That would be melismatic. We don't hear that quite as much. You might say like some of your like R&B artists maybe still do a little bit of that.
Would
but
you
it's
say like
not-
maybe emo artists do that, just like holding out that long whiny note at the end, or of a chorus?
To me, that would still be sort of syllabic because it's one note per that one syllable. It doesn't necessarily change.
You're
pitch.
you're talking about like really that opera singer who's like doing
Yeah.
that for about 3 minutes.
Yeah, right.
System
Okay,
of a
yeah,
Down.
yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
System of a Down.
would
System
be-
of a
Good
Down.
call, right
yeah,
there.
Great, yeah, for sure. That would be some of it.
I'm learning.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Whereas, let's take
Bjork, but she's like an everything. That's not fair.
So you can use all that stuff to inform how you develop your lyrics and your melody line. So you can go either way, harmony first or melody first, but they're going to inform each other. And as you develop it, it'll continue to be informed.
So whenever I listen to songs, they usually have whatever instruments in it tends to like play the refrain, and it sounds like, and maybe it's because I've heard the lyrics of it, but the music sounds like it's almost saying those words.
Yeah.
Is that like relative to what you're talking about?
It is, yeah. So they're really trying to pinhole using the harmony to reinforce the melody. And sometimes you can even play the melody in addition with whatever harmony instrument. So like the guitar will be doubling the melody line. That kind of thing. It happens. But really specifically, it's going to be they're using really crucial notes out of the harmony in the melody line. I feel like I'm talking in circles right now. I swear.
No, then like
I just zoned out for a second, and I'm like, "Am I just saying the same thing?"
I just
over
blacked out
yeah,
and came back. Whoa.
the thing about that is like what you said, when the lyrics sound like they are being played, and I'm sure you've experienced this, Chris. Like when you're jamming, sometimes like nobody's singing, but you're like, "Hey, did somebody just sing those words?" And you're like, "Nah." And you're like, okay, well, we're gonna write those words.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes because your mind is really good at looking for patterns anyway, so you're always looking for patterns. And then resonance is a thing. So depending on like if you're playing in a basement with a bunch of stones, you're gonna hear a lot of lyrics. But then like that kind of resonance, like in tune, like your thoughts in your like this isn't any like kind of magic or juju or whatever. It's just like you have thoughts in your heads. There are like things bouncing off the walls. There's extra noise. And then you're already probably looking for and thinking about lyrics, and then your brain just naturally looks for patterns. And then yes, like it really does just come to you. And like part of my writing process, like I always tell people, I don't write songs. I let the earth kind of write songs for me. And it's not like I'm waiting to be inspired, but I definitely I feel like the earth is trying to say this maybe through us, and that's so I'm going to write it down. And like any music, I didn't create it. Like the frequency at which a G vibrates, doesn't matter if it's a high or low, regardless of what frequency it's a G, it exists out there. That sound has been made before. Nothing is new. Those frequencies have been vibrating in other patterns for ages. We are the ones that are putting them in order. We're the ones that are basically, just arranging them. That's all we get to do. The sounds are, that's not us. That's just we can't claim that.
It's the idea of that there's no new music out there. It's just music that you've heard before rearranged.
Well, yeah, and it's just but every like you go to the there's a frequency at which the Earth vibrates, or there's a frequency at which Saturn and its moons, like everything has its own little tiny variations. And I'm not getting into like any kind of like mysticism of it, like just the actual vibrations and frequencies of it is like you can measure it. And that is nothing new. And like like that's why like you can have an album called Space Sounds where somebody went ahead and just arranged a bunch of these sounds that NASA instruments put together, but they have arranged it into a way where it's pleasing to the ear because we know how to arrange frequencies to put it in order, like a DAG. Everybody loves the DAG dad.
Right, yeah, right.
And then your brain is like, I know this pattern. This is so good. And also I feel like I can do this because I know this pattern and I recognize it and I can whistle it.
So this becomes some sort of theory.
Well, that's what I was gonna harp on. I was gonna get to was absolutely. For a second there, you lost me. I was like, we're gonna have words. But breaking
nothing
it down,
crazy, nothing crazy.
Breaking it down, breaking it down to like the vibrations, the things like that. That's what music is, right? It's vibrations. We can observe them with our physics instruments, right? Physicists measure this stuff all the time. They get into it. That's where, like, at the heart of it, that's where music theory comes from, albeit we had a semblance of music theory before we understood, like, how sound waves worked. It's still the observance of, like, the overtone series. And, I always think of, like, the ancient Greeks listening to a hollow log in the woods whistling and trying to figure that out, That's where it stems from. It does come from, like, that natural state of just wind and harmonics. Phone call. So
businessman with business call.
Yeah, right.
That is business.
That is business. No, so there is all that, and then that spurs on a whole concept of theory, musical theory, and something I want to take a moment to point out here is Western music theory is not the albeit music theory, right? There is plenty of other systems in the world that are used.
White keys and black keys can be expanded upon.
It's
they can
so
be
much,
different. Yeah,
right? Yeah, no,
it's not just like 8. Because some people, it's like, how many notes are there?
Where
are you from?
Yeah, no, for sure. No, exactly.
If you're a gypsy, you have so many notes.
There's right, if we talk about like Indian music, that's a whole whole topic unto itself. With the
that sounds like a whole
thing.
episode of itself.
It's totally a series of
let's
episodes.
Let's bring somebody in that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, Cleveland has I think I heard the statistic was something like the largest Tagarija festival outside of India in the world.
Really?
Yeah, it's hosted down at CSU. I used to have to go there every year.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
I want to go.
Yeah,
Let's go.
It's really cool. They bring in like all these top tier performers. Like it's a big deal. Yeah.
So before we get too much further in there, as we're talking about, as we're talking about making AC/DC music, hooks, and how to make like a good hook and how to build up to it.
Yeah.
Do you have any last thoughts on that before we end today's episode?
Oh.
How about we just play ourselves out?
Wait, I'll start with this because really this gets to the heart of what I love and don't love about the music industries. Sometimes I feel like we tailor make our hooks just because they're pleasing. Like I was saying before, there's certain patterns that are recognizable to the brain and they're great. And if you hit it and have the right message behind it, that's wonderful. But if you're just using it to sell music to a populace because they have to a certain demographic because that demographic has money, that's you're not really creating music that's worth value. But what makes a good hook is it's not just the fact that it's catchy and all of these elements go into it. It's also that did the hair go up on the back of your neck? Because that's those are the songs. Did it make you cry? Did it make you feel something? Did it make you think something? Because all of the elements that go into play they without them you won't have that happen. But then you also have to have that little bit of extra, that little bit of magic that you have put onto it that really connected. So and then that's the other part of it is what makes a good hook, the connection you have with your audience. Because I make a good hook for my friends, let's say, but Taylor Swift makes a good hook for her friends. and that's not
For
taking
her
any
ex-friend.
and that's not taking anything
Right.
away from what she's doing, because those people feel it just like my friends feel it. And
All
I
right.
don't know if you have any theory to add behind that.
No, that's all good stuff. That's exactly what I tell my students pretty much is, think about who you're playing to, think about what your audience is used to and what they want to hear, because it's about sharing that with them. It's not just, playing for yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Fashion jackets. What are we calling this one?
Oh, yeah. Fashion brackets.
All right. Let's go fashion rackets. Bass, start us off. We're going to play ourselves out.
Fancy hats, leather jackets. We're all living in fashion brackets. Fancy hats, leather jackets. We're all living in fashion brackets.
Spin back and hit spacebar.